Hey drone nerds, Andrew here. We have a really special video for you guys today. It's an interview with Jay Mulakala of DroneDeploy. So Jay, thanks so much for joining us. We're really excited to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me, Andrew.
So tell me a little bit about DroneDeploy.
So for those of you that haven't heard about us before, we're a reality capture platform that allows our customers to create visual twins of their sites, whether it's solar farms, construction sites, farm fields, or whatever it is you're looking to create a digital model of.
With these digital twins, visual twins, how are these used?
So it varies across some of our different industries. But for example, some of our customers in construction will use it for progress tracking, for identifying issues, for tracking quantities in earthworks, and tracking materials. In energy, it's the gambit of inspecting equipment. So it could be inspecting solar farms, it could be inspecting wind farms, could be inspecting other types of sensitive equipment. And we've got customers across a variety of other spectrums. We have customers in public safety using us for accident reconstruction or wildfire prevention methods. We have customers in conservation that are using us for preserving archaeological sites or digs. And a variety of other use cases. Even I'm constantly learning how others are using the platform today.
And that's what I was going to ask. In recent memory, is there someone that used your software for a purpose that you didn't originally think that would be used for? Or was there something that kind of came out of left field that you're like, oh, wow, that's really smart?
I think we're still constantly learning how they might use it. Probably the most interesting use case I've heard of more recently is a customer that used our ground product to capture 360 walks of some trails that they're building out in their reserve. So just other creative ways of documenting it, as well as using it as a resource for the general public to use for documentation. Not one of our traditional use cases.
I love that. That's awesome.
A creative way of using the technology.
So how long has DroneDeploy been around, and how did the product first come to fruition?
So DroneDeploy has been around for about 10 years now. We actually hit our 10-year anniversary a few months ago. And our founders, Mike, Nick, and Jono, originally founded the company back in 2013 to combat poaching scenarios out in South Africa, where they're originally from. And so DroneDeploy back then looked very different than DroneDeploy as it is today. The drone industry as a whole was still relatively immature. And so what that meant was they had to build their own hardware. So they had a fixed-wing aircraft that they had built. It had an LTE connection, so it could live stream its video and take images in real time. And they were using that for monitoring poaching operations in the National Reserve that was in that part of South Africa. And that's where DroneDeploy got started, with the intention of leveraging drone technology to begin using it for inspection purposes.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I love that it has kind of its roots in conservation. I think that's really rad.
As we've evolved over the years as well, we've kind of journeyed in that same direction. Our first industry that we started working with was in agriculture way back in 2014, 2015 now, where we had early farmers using us for plant health analysis, tracking vegetation and crop health of their farms. So kind of a continuation of where the company was founded, through construction, through energy, and a lot of what we're seeing now are greater usage in conservation efforts. So
That's
full
awesome.
circle back to our original founding 10 years ago.
Who would you say is nowadays the primary consumer, the primary user of the DroneDeploy suite?
Our two biggest industries are within construction and within energy today. And of course, across the board, across a variety of different industries, including agriculture, public safety, conservation, and many, many more. Within construction, we generally see a lot of project managers, superintendents, project teams, owners leveraging the technology for both monitoring construction progress throughout its life cycle, as well as continuous inspection and maintenance of that asset once it's been delivered and handed over to the owner. And within energy, like I mentioned before, it's really across the gamut. So we have oil and gas customers that are using us for inspecting well pads and refineries, ensuring that they're running at peak efficiency. And on the flip side, we have numerous renewables customers across a variety of different segments of renewables, both on the large end of utility scale solar, using us for monitoring solar construction progress, as well as solar O&M for those types of large solar farms, all the way down to one of our largest customers in residential solar construction, Sunrun, who's using us to document single-family homes, getting measurements off of roofs and being able to turn around solar panel designs to homeowners relatively quickly. So full spectrum across solar, as well as a variety of other renewables use cases within that industry.
What are some of the challenges that you've been able to solve for your user base?
A lot of the challenges really come down to a lack of data or visibility compared to more traditional methods. For example, prior to DroneDeploy, we'd have a lot of customers who would leverage either satellite data or plane data, or just not have any data whatsoever to make any of those decisions. So, for example, in some of our roofing and residential customers, they would generally rely on satellite or plane data to be able to get measurements of customers' roofs, which can often be outdated and generally inaccurate due to the quality of satellite data or plane data. And so drone data has allowed them to be able to capture that level of data much more consistently. Similarly, on the ground side, a lot of the challenges come down to a lack of documentation. So, for example, in the construction industry, if there's an issue with a specific trade partner, or there is an issue with the owner after the property's been handed over, being able to identify the cause of that issue, who's responsible for it, when that issue occurred, and is that something that is insurable, for example, can be incredibly complicated when you don't have a digital model of your site that you can go back and investigate and learn more from. And so just like on our aerial side, leveraging drone technologies, we have customers leveraging our ground product to capture 360 walks of the inside of their facilities so that they've got more consistent, comprehensive documentation of their sites that they can use for, again, tracking progress, but also using for scenarios like that where they need to handle a conflict whenever it occurs.
So what would you say separates DroneDeploy from other software in the segment?
DroneDeploy has kind of changed and evolved over the years. For those of the folks that have known DroneDeploy back from our original founding, we started in the drone industry, a homage to our name and where we come from, where we launched a flight planning application that allowed you to go out and capture autonomous maps and models. Beyond there, back in about 2016 or 2017, we launched our own photogrammetry engine so that we can ensure the quality, accuracy, and speed of our data sets to our customers that rely on that data. In about 2018, 2019, we launched our first ground product because we had customers saying they needed to capture additional types of media. So photos, videos, panos, which we supported initially on the exterior and then through our ground walkthrough product that we launched back in 2018, 2019. And then from there pivoted to offering a full suite of robotic solutions through an acquisition of a company based out of New Zealand called Rokos. Through our belief that you need to have an automated data capture solution in order to have valuable, consistent insights that you can use for consistent documentation, inspection, et cetera. And then through the StructionSite acquisition, we now have one of the leading ground capture solutions within the market that allows you to do interior inspections, for example. And so when we look within the industry, I think our core focus has always been, how do you take advantage of emerging technologies like ground-based rovers, stock drones in general, 360 cameras, and be able to leverage that to solve your end problem, whatever that problem might be. It could be documenting a solution. It could be measuring stockpiles. It could be land conservation. It could be waste management even. And what that's meant is that everything we built into the product always has our end users, our field users in mind when we're building it. I think that's really what differentiates us from most of the competition, because we're not just a flight app, we're not just a photogrammetry solution, we're not just a 360 documentation tool. At the end of the day, we are building a product that project managers, that superintendents, that asset inspectors, that roof adjusters, that agronomists can use in the field. So we simplify how you fly a drone or capture ground data. We simplify the photogrammetry process that you don't even need to know what it is. And in the next iteration of DroneDeploy going into next year, we're also simplifying accuracy. So how do you get automatic, accurate data that you can use to do quantifiable analytics like measuring stockpiles or measuring earthworks, something that's been historically complicated unless you had the wherewithal, their knowledge to be able to quantify and calculate that type of data. And so that's where our focus has always been. How do we make it as easy as possible for our end users to leverage these technologies? And robotics is kind of the next frontier that we see as an industry that's on the track of being simplified. There's a variety of different hardware providers in the marketplace today. And robotics is almost where drone technology was back in 2010, 2011, when DJI launched their first Phantom 1. And we see that as the next industry that's destined to be simplified to a point where you shouldn't even have to think about the robot that's doing the job. You just automatically get the answers that you need on your construction site or in your facility or on your solar farm because you're leveraging DroneDeploy's suite of tools.
What does it take for users to sort of get ramped up and using your products?
So DroneDeploy's products are available for anyone to try out and use entirely on your own. You can go to dronedeploy.com today and sign up for a free trial. You have the ability to use our flight application, which is free for anyone to use and will always be free. Similarly with our ground application as well, construction site acquisition, you can go to the Apple App Store today, download it, and use that for free as well. So it's extremely easy to just download the product and try it out yourself. And if you're interested in using our cloud tools or our processing tools, let us know, and we'd be happy to get you equipped. But it's incredibly easy to get started. If you're looking to learn how to use the product for the first time, and you're not tired of listening to my voice yet, feel free to go and search DroneDeploy Zero to Hero series on YouTube or on DroneDeploy Academy, and I'll walk you through how you can use the DroneDeploy product in about 30 minutes.
So what's coming up next for DroneDeploy? Is there anything on the roadmap that you can share with us that's exciting?
So we just announced quite a few features at our DroneDeploy conference just about a month ago. Our key focus as a company has been on unifying our product since the structured site acquisition late last year in 2022. And so at our DroneDeploy conference this year, we launched our unified product, which takes the best of DroneDeploy aerial and combines it with the best of structured site ground, so that we have a unified product that customers in 360 documentation as well as drone industries can leverage to be able to document their sites. Going into 2024, our key focus is on continuing to make that unified solution as simple and easy for our customers to use, in addition to focusing on a full suite of automation tools that allows our customers to get the insights that they need at the end of the day. So for example, if we separate the groups into capture, process, and analyze, on the capture front, we're excited to be launching our DJI dock solution, which we announced at DDC, that allows our customers to use the DJI dock integrated with the DroneDeploy robotics and automation solution, as well as integrated with our flight planning and execution platform directly in the cloud. That means customers can use a DJI dock almost as simply as using a standard drone out in the field. They would create a flight plan, they'd be able to launch it, schedule it, and magically wake up to data that's been captured on their site at 8 a.m. the following morning. And continue to extend our focus on the ground robotics space. So for the past 3 or so years now, since the Rocos acquisition, we've worked with numerous customers leveraging ground rovers like the Boston Dynamics Spot to autonomously capture data in the field. And there's still a ways to go, but we're hoping to push the boundaries on that next year and make it even more easier to be able to easily deploy a Spot system on your site and be able to capture that reliable, consistent data. And then moving into the analyze piece, the longstanding ask of all of our customers is, how do we get insights out of DroneDeploy faster? You know, these maps and models are great. All the photos and videos and 360 walks and panos that we've been capturing are phenomenal. And we showcase all of that data for you in DroneDeploy. But now you end up having the opposite problem of, well, we have a wealth of information. So how do we quickly get to the answers that we need from the wealth of data that we now have in DroneDeploy? And so we're excited about the trends within the AI and machine learning industry as well. As many of you, unless you've been living on a rock, have heard about ChatGPT and all the improvements that have happened in that space. What that really means is that it's much more easier to deploy an AI model these days than it's been in years past. And it means we can start to leverage some of those tools to extract insights from visual imagery like we capture within DroneDeploy. So a few of the things that we announced at DDC, for example, are our new Magic Wand tool, which will be available in the DroneDeploy product in the next month or so. That allows you, if you've ever used the Magic Wand tool in Photoshop, to simply select anything that you want in your DroneDeploy map, say a stockpile, a car, a tree, whatever that is. Quickly train your own model by tagging a few more issues directly within the DroneDeploy map, and then automatically tagging all of those cars or stockpiles or whatever within your site. That means you're not manually annotating or selecting each of these features. You're able to quickly identify whatever it is that you need to identify for your specific use case at scale. And then offering a full scale solution as well. So we've also launched a few industry specific reports for our customers to be able to get them that data consolidated and ready for them. For example, in construction, we launched our concrete pre-pour sleeve analysis report just about a few months ago, which means you can fly a drone over your pad, be able to quickly identify which sleeves have been installed in the right location or are missing or out of tolerance compared to your original design. And that usually means within about 4 hours of you flying, you're able to quickly identify which sleeves are in the right location, which sleeves are incorrect, and you can remediate that issue. It's a pretty big problem within the construction industry because even replacing one sleeve can cost upwards of $40,000 to $50,000 to $60,000, depending on the type of sleeve that you might need to change. And then similarly in solar construction, especially those large utility scale solar construction projects, we have customers that need to be able to automatically quantify how much progress has been made for our solar farm. So being able to quantify how many poles, racks, and panels have been installed, and what is your general trend and velocity look like, so you can actually quantify when construction will be completed. And so we now deliver solar progress reports. That means for each flight that you do in DroneDeploy, we can automatically identify the number of poles, racks, and panels that have already been installed, be able to quantify that per block, depending on how many blocks you're installing in your solar farm, and then generate a consolidated PDF report for you that shows you, here's your percentage progress on block A, block B, block C, and here's your estimated completion. So offering that full end-to-end reporting, complete from automated data capture to automated processing to an automated report that you'd be able to get that gives you the insights that you need at the end of the day.
Seeing where DroneDeploy started with, the homemade drones going on into like the early era of drones, consumer enterprise use to where we are now, give me some, maybe albeit far-fetched, where do you think this is going in the next 3, 5, 10 years? What are some of the things that you hope to see and the things that you think that you'll see in the future?
I think our vision of DroneDeploy has always been about making really visual data like aerial and ground data and other types of visual data available for our customers for whatever it is that they're looking to do. And so automation has really been a core of where we've been focusing our time and energy over the past few years, in an area that we'll continue to focus on going into the future. The same as, you can start your car today and be able to get to where you need to go without knowing how a combustion engine works or without having to know how the car operates. And the same as how we're starting to see Waymo and other self-driving car companies start to launch fully autonomous vehicle fleets where you don't even need to own a car, let alone know how to operate one, is where we see the reality capture industry going as a whole. So what that means is, in the construction space, I think Komatsu released a paper maybe about 10 years ago now about the smart job site, where it's a fully automated construction site where you need to really have a minimum number of operators. And especially today, where labor shortages are pretty common in the construction industry, that's becoming a greater and greater need. So in the future, I could see DroneDeploy playing a key role in automating the documentation of your job site and reporting of your job site without ever having to have a human in the loop. So for example, you could have a DJI dock set up on your site that's autonomously capturing aerial data for you at 8 a.m. each morning. That's automatically being uploaded and processed in DroneDeploy. That gives you a construction progress report delivered at 9 a.m. on your desk that you can use to assess that day's conditions. Similarly, that data that the DJI dock had captured Through that, we've been able to automatically identify the current amount of aggregate materials that you had on your site. We've been also able to automatically calculate your current progress of earthworks and where you may need to do some additional grading to get to your final design. And we can feed that data, for example, to Komatsu smart dozers that can autonomously go around your site and grade your site according to that design, being fed by the drone data for complete calibration on your site. Similarly, that data could also be fed to a ground robotic solution like a Boston Dynamics bot that says, hey, we've identified some specific issues on this site. For example, power line or some of the plumbing or utility lines that are being installed seem out of place from their original design. And you can dispatch a spot to go and check out that specific issue and capture a 360 walk around that specific location, or capture some videos or photos, or maybe it's got a thermal camera and capturing some additional readings that can then be passed along to an operator. So that level of automation in terms of data capture, with the core of being able to have a processing engine that can handle that level of data, and then ultimately getting you the insights that you need so you don't have to scroll through thousands of different data sets in order to get the answers you need, is really where we see the future of the reality capture space.
Well, Jay, I really want to thank you for your time today, for hanging out with us and telling us a little bit more about DroneDeploy. Where can we find you online?
If you're interested, just search us at DroneDeploy.com and we'd be happy to connect with you.
We'll have some links down in the video description below. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.